The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. There is an old and very powerful African saying that every single one of us needs to remember today. The saying goes, every day is for the thief, but one day is for the owner. For a very long time, a man named Bila thought he could play hide and seek with the Burkina army. He was operating deep inside the shadows of the Sadugwe area, right in the Nakambi region. To the people around him, he claimed to be a regular merchant running a local business. But behind closed doors, he was living a double life. He was wearing many dangerous hats at the same time. Bila was a logistician. He was a provider of housing for them. He was a technician, an informant, and a receiver of stolen goods for the Notorious tea groups of Kambaga. But today, the game of hide and seek is officially over. Bila has been captured by the brave combat forces of the nation, and now he is sitting in front of a camera exposing the dirty inner works of how tea is actually supplied and funded from within our own communities. This is not just a story about one man getting caught. This is a deep look into the real front line of the war against tea. It shows us that the biggest threat to the nation is not just the enemy holding in the forest, but the silent neighbors who feed them, house them, and give them fuel for profit. If you want to understand how the war on tea is actually won or lost, you need to hear this confession. Welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into the cold facts of this news report, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now.
His name is Bila, an accomplice of the armed terrorist groups. He was in the Sugudi area, Nakambe region, for a long time. Bila, therefore, in the Sugudi region was both a logistician, fence, host, technician, and informant for the Kabonga terrorist groups. Now arrested, he says he has realized his wrongdoing. Bila calls on all other accomplices of the armed terrorist groups to stop their bad practices. The testimony is with Bienvenue Tansa.
Here is an individual who was playing hide and seek with the Burkinabe army, but as he knows very well, always for the thief, one day for the owner. An accomplice of terrorist groups, Bila had long been sought in the Sugudi area, in the Nakambe region. In the service of terrorist groups, he wore several hats: logistician, receiver, supplier, host, technician, and informant for the terrorist groups of Kabonga in the commune of Pama. Bila is also the one who handled the distribution of cereals looted by the terrorist groups or collected as zakat from the populations.
I come from Gonaba in the commune of Sugudi, where I work as a merchant. In my business, I collaborated with the terrorist groups in that area. Whatever the terrorists wanted in terms of supplies, whether it was food, fuel, vehicles, and others, I did my best to supply them and get my money back.
Moreover, during an operation to sell off looted food supplies, Bila is captured by brave fighting forces.
It was in Komyanga that I was apprehended.
During my arrest, I was injured, but I assure you that I have been well taken care of, and that continues to this day. Here, I lack nothing. They even found me a job so that I can keep busy and also contribute to the country's development.
Today, Bila admits to having made serious mistakes. He implores the clemency of the Burkinabe authorities and the entire people.
The authorities of the country are making very great efforts, but it is us, the citizens, who refuse to align ourselves and continue to pursue selfish interests, dragging the country down. When the FDS took me, they let me know that they had been following me for a long time and that they knew sooner or later they would catch me. They are also aware of all those who continue to collaborate with the terrorists and are on their trail.
Ia does not make an honorable plea. He calls on all other accomplices of the terrorist groups to abandon this harmful role that contributes to destroying many families.
I invite all those who continue to supply the terrorist groups to reconsider while there is still time. All those who collaborate with the terrorist groups in the Komianga area know me very well, and they also know that I know what they are doing. So I no longer need to mention anyone's name to tell them to stop supplying the terrorists. If you are local like me, you might be apprehended alive. Otherwise, you risk being neutralized in the offensives against terrorist groups if you continue to associate with them. I truly thank the defense and security forces and the authorities of this country who sacrifice for us, the people. I also send my greetings to my family that I have dishonored. I am in good health, and if God wills, we will see each other again one of these days.
If I had known, gives no tell as they say, Bila cannot turn back time to correct his mistakes. He must now think 1,000 times before taking any action.
Let's break down exactly what is happening on the ground. Let's look directly at the facts presented in the live. According to the official news report, Bila was not just a passive bystander. He was the literal engine keeping the T network alive in the community of Pama and the Sodugui area. When the T fighters in the Kamboga zone needed to move, Bila was the man who made it happen. In his own confession, Bila openly admits that he used his status as a merchant to buy whatever the T wanted. If they needed food to stay alive in the bush, Bila supplied it. If they needed fuel for their motorbikes and vehicles to launch attacks, Bila provided it. If they needed machinery or heavy tools, he did his very best to get it for them. But it goes even deeper than that. The news report reveals a very painful truth about how these armed groups are destroying our local economies. Bila was the main man responsible for selling off grains that the T had violently looted from innocent villages. He was also handling the grains that the armed groups collected by force from the local population under the name of zakat, which is a forced religious tax. Think about the terrible cycle of this reality. The T attack a village, steal the food from poor farming families, and then hand that stolen food to a local businessman like Bila. Bila sells the food in the regular markets, takes the cash, and uses that exact same money to buy fuel and supplies for the next tea raid. This is how a war economy works, and it is happening right under the noses of the local population. The turning point of this story happened in a place called Komianga. Bila was in the middle of an operation trying to sell off more of those looted food supplies when the military combat forces closed on him. He tried to run, and during the confrontation, he was wounded and arrested. Now, this is where the commentary becomes very interesting. Usually, when T groups capture people, they execute them or demand a massive ransom. But Bila is telling a completely different story about the National Army. He explicitly states that despite being a man who helped T unalive people, the defense and the security forces, the FDS, took him to a medical facility and treated his wounds. He openly confessed that he is being well taken care of. He lacks absolutely nothing, and they have even given him work to do so he can stay busy and contribute to building the nation instead of destroying it. This detail is a huge psychological blow to the T network. The armed groups always tell their members that if the army catches them, they will be tortured and unalive. But here is Bila, standing alive, well-fed and treated with human dignity, showing the world that the state is ready to reform those who repent. The most critical part of this news broadcast is the direct message Bila has for his former business partners. He admits that he made a massive life-destroying mistake. He admits that his actions have completely dishonored his own family. And he looks directly into the camera to give a chilling warning to everyone still helping the armed groups in the Komiyanga zone. He tells them clearly, change your minds while there is still time. Bila reveals something very terrifying for the remaining collaborators. He says that when the military intelligence officers caught him, they showed him the evidence. They told him they had been tracking his movements for a very long time, and they knew that sooner or later his day will come. Then he adds a final warning. He says the army already knows the names and locations of every single person still supplying the T groups in that region. They are already hot on their trail. He tells them that if they are lucky, like him, they might be arrested alive. But if they refuse to stop, they will face total neutralization in the next military offensive. This news report forces every single citizen to look closely at the mirror. The military authorities are making immense sacrifices every single day on the front line so that you and I can live in peace and make sure the resources that we have benefit us. And to our brothers and sisters, we need to understand that whatever the military are doing is for our own good. They are doing everything so that you and I wouldn't suffer, so that nobody will be able to buy us off while we continue to suffer. They are fighting for a future generation that will not suffer. So you and I must support. We should be defenders of our own land. Our resources must be given back to us. We must take charge so that we can be in control over everything. We deserve what is here, and that was why nature gave it to us. So other people must not come into the continent claiming ownership and making sure that we continue to live in poverty so they can live a better life. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's colonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world in Africa, West Africa, and in Burkina Faso.